Welcome back. Peace and blessings, everyone. Queen Osset here. Today, I am going to do a comparison video between the Indie Light Seers Tarot deck and the HayHouse version of the Light Seers Tarot deck. The Light Seers Tarot was created by Chris-Anne. There was a lot of conversation about this deck. It may very well be the deck of the year. Unfortunately, many people missed out on getting the indie version. So HayHouse had reached out to Chris-Anne to take on production so that it can be more accessible to those of us who were not able to get the indie version. Now, Chris-Anne has a video on YouTube that came out in July where she speaks about HayHouse reaching out to her, wanting to take on her creative project. And she mentions about being seen and recognized, etc., etc. And in the video, it was said that this HayHouse version was anticipated to drop at the beginning of 2020, perhaps January, February. Well, as you can see, many of us started to receive this deck, the HayHouse version. Now, I've watched a few walkthroughs. Nina over at Shuffle Tarot, her copy of the HayHouse version was truly problematic. And if I remember, I'll put a link below. But, you know, I'm not here to make comparison, because there is no comparison between, you know, the heartfelt energy that's put into an indie deck as opposed to what's put into a mass market deck. I'm going to say off the top that when I heard that HayHouse was doing it, my expectations were much higher because, you know, HayHouse is known for fantastic cardstock quality, fantastic imagery, fantastic production of many of their decks. The newer ones that are coming out now. Angels and Ancestors and the Mystical Shaman and those decks. Okay, so as you can see, this is the indie version that I have here, and this is what it looks like. You know, the box is about, perhaps 5 by 6 maybe. It flips open like so, and it has the guidebook that nestles inside, along with the cards that sit in there. Magnetic flip box. So, you know, HayHouse does magnetic boxes as well, right? They have the Animal Spirit deck, which is actually one of my favorites. And it's a magnetic flip box. Most of their boxes now are that way. So, yeah. So I invested heavily in this deck that I got 2 copies. All right. So my expectation when I heard HayHouse was coming out with this deck was that I would have something a little similar. But then I saw that the initial promotion by HayHouse featured a smaller deck. It's supposed to be pocket size, more manageable, because, you know, the the indie deck, while it's gorgeous, it's a keepsake box, and many of us want to use our decks and travel with them and such, right? The guidebook, the original guidebook, is this big. As I said, it sat nestled in the box. Okay, so the HayHouse box, like this, cute little box, you know. And yes, I got 2, and I'll explain why I got 2. Cute little box, that beautiful turquoise that's on the outside. Thumb tabs, so it's a 2-piece box. I'm not going to struggle to take that off with myself on camera here, but I'm not really one to get caught up on what the boxes look like. You can see the notches cut out there. And if aesthetics are important to you, you can see one that arrived like that. As I said, I'm not really caught up on aesthetics. It's okay. Beautiful coloring. Love the imagery. All of that. Okay. So, what I'm going to show you is, I don't know if I could do this. Yeah, I'm holding this. This is actually the second deck. It's laying flat on a table. I have no cloth. Let me grab the indie version. This is the indie version. Let's see if I can do this. And this is the HayHouse version. So that seems to be the biggest problem. Many people are talking about how the cards are cut. As I said, this is the second copy that I had in here. This copy, I just took it out of the box on Tuesday, and I don't know if you can see. Let's see. Probably not. I can't even, if I could do this. It's poorly cut. Let's just say that. It's poorly cut. All right. The cardstock is, for those of us who have fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis, you might actually find this cardstock much easier to shuffle than the indie deck. It's a little bit thinner, and it's fine. As I said, my only quirk was how it's cut, but even then, it's just that for me, a brand new deck, I have decks that I have used, like I can't even line that up. Okay, we do have this divot that occurs here. You cannot see it, but there's a dent. It's almost like the cards are too big for the box and they try to shove it down in there and they bent the cards. Okay. My first deck was like that as well. All right. So this is the second one. I guess it's my backup copy. And not that big a deal. Well, there you go. All right. Here's the indie deck. At least one copy of them, no matter which way I tilt them. You can see, it's an indie deck. This is what you pay for. It's well made. The coloration is beautiful. That looks almost solid, right? Okay. So, put that aside for a minute. Of course, the HayHouse guidebook is much smaller. Whereas the indie deck, of course, it's like half the size. And yes, it has pretty much half the information. And personally, there's parts of the indie deck I feel should have been in here as opposed to some other parts that were more poignant and more thought-provoking. And I'll talk about that soon. Okay. So, of course, the guidebook sits in the box, etc., etc. You can watch other people do walkthroughs. We'll put this aside for now. So, the very first copy of my indie deck, I told you that the edging was boogered up. You can look at it here. I edged it. Looks like two separate decks sitting here, right? They are in order. This is what it looks like. I edged it in purple because, well, see what it looks like? Even with the edging. It's okay. It's $25. But I'm just saying, for an extra $5, which are most of what HayHouse decks cost, we could have gotten a better looking book, a better looking box, and you could have actually had someone who knew how to handle the die cut a lot better. On some of my cards, I think maybe when I get to what I believe is the second half of the deck, I don't know if you can see it here. Maybe you can. No, you cannot see it. But there's a line, there's a cut line. You're not going to be able, you won't see it. I can see it with the naked eye. I can't get it on camera, but there's a cut line in there. So that's my only concern, is that after multiple times of shuffling, will the deck split? Hold on just a moment. Okay, I'm back. So I'm sitting at my son's graphic design desk. So I've put down in front of you here the HayHouse version, and we have the indie version. I don't know if this is a good way for me to do this. Okay. So right off the top, this is the HayHouse version. The lighting is the same. The HayHouse version, from what I can see, is more saturated. Right here, the color is more saturated. Back there, it's more saturated. It's deeper, it's more intense. So maybe that's where they spent the money, as opposed to getting someone professional who could handle card cutter, whatever it is that they used to cut the cards. They put the money into saturating the imagery. Okay, you can even see the sacred geometry is a lot more prominent here than it is here. Now, mind you, this is the indie deck. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the magician. Same lighting. I move them down so they could be there. Look how much deeper and intense this color is. This is the HayHouse deck. What you have back here looks like sheaves of wheat. It's not on this card here. The pool is deeper. Even the facial features are more prominent. And I have the cards upside down, and I can see the facial features more prominently. Everything is just more intense. The striations in his arm, the bracelets that he has on, the colors are just more, or I should say the imagery is just a little bit more, it's sharper. It's not as fuzzy. If you look around the arm here, it's not as defined. Okay. The High Priestess, who's on the cover of the box, again, the colors are more intense. And I think pretty much that's what you'll see all the way through. More rounded here. Of course, it's just more intense. The Empress. The Emperor. I think this was the first card that I had noticed the difference. His features, his coloration is more intense again. Even if I switch sides with them, I'm just going to switch them for now. You can still see the intensity. See how much this is lighter, it's more, the shading, even the floor is more intense on the HayHouse version. The patterning and such. color of his shirt. Don't want to mix them up. Okay, so we're back to the HayHouse version now. Oops. I just mixed them up. Don't want to do that. Well, I will know because the HayHouse version, my HayHouse version, is edged in purple. So this is one of the differences that was prominent as well. HayHouse version, named the Hierophant. Indie version, Keeper of the Soul. So the card was renamed. The Lovers. Again, it's more intense. The color, the saturation again, it's just a little bit more intense. The hash marks or striations here are more prominent. Her tattoo is more prominent. Body art. This is the triquetra. Part of his hair. In the HayHouse, you can see more of his hair back here than you can in the indie version. These things don't really matter, but they're just things that I noticed. Oh, you can most definitely see the intensity more here. I'm using my finger. The roadway, the guy crouched up here. Okay. Get through this rather quickly. Strength card. Most definitely more intense. Hermit is beautiful. I love that you can see the stairs a little bit more prominently. This is more prominent here. This is the indie deck than here. This is a little more hazy, or rather this is hazy. That's the HayHouse deck. The cardstock that I mentioned, this is not as matte as this, but you see they both hold the light well. They're not overly glossy. Again, the intensity. Now, I don't know if this is something to do with my particular decks. Is my indie deck supposed to be not as saturated as the HayHouse deck? Yeah. See the dog in the background? blue of her dress. It's more defined. I don't know. These look very similar. Okay, the Sun card, Judgment. We have more definition in the hair. It's just sharper here. The coloration again is just more saturated. Even this is more defined. We have the World. Okay, now we move on to Aces. Not much of a difference here, so for more definition in the lips, and of course the eyes are more defined, the lashes and such. I'm not looking at the cards when I'm doing this. I'm looking at my computer screen to see how it translates for those of you who may be watching. Wands, Two of Wands. This is darker. You know, I really appreciate the saturation. I think I like the definition a bit more. Four. So remember, this is the HayHouse side. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. It is more, in life, it's more saturated. Look almost the same, but this is a little darker. Wands. 9 of Wands. Yeah. Okay. This is definitely more vibrant. The cat's more defined. King of Wands. Well, you know, oops, sorry if you heard that. So far, I mean, compared to the indie deck, you get a great deck for not a lot of money, same quality. As I said, the only problem is I think HayHouse was just going too quickly to get this out to the masses. They should have taken a bit more care when it comes to cutting the cards, you know, getting them in the box so they didn't have to be bent to shove into the box. You still get a nice deck. As I said, I've got 2 copies of it. Small minor changes in the first couple of cards. I'm not really noticing anything here on the minors per se, outside of the color saturation itself. I'm going to speed things up. I've had you for 26 minutes now. Oops. Let's get back here. Yeah, the cardstock is definitely easier to manage. You know, you can even see the reflection a little bit better. Well, I don't know. I was just looking at the HayHouse. The reflection in the indie deck is much better. Okay. It's definitely easier to handle. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what we have here. 9 of Cups. Wow. Could really see the intense coloration here compared to this one. Yeah, he looks sharper here. His hands. Oh, okay. Is this me or is the profile different? Wow. The profile is different. Leave a comment below. I can see it in the nose. I can see it in the chin. Interesting. This seems to be more tilted back. This is the indie deck. Interesting. The neck seems more stretched here. Well, at least they left it with the nose ring. Swords, the 2 of Swords. Three of Swords. about the same. This one is just a bit more defined here. And visually this seems a bit bigger here, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe those are just cosmetic things. I said, you know, the deck is $25. You can't beat that. From what I understand, HayHouse is returning, refunding and replacing the decks and such. I think they're going to do a reprint and all of that anyway. I may contact them about one of mine. I don't know how much better the decks coming out in the future will be. I mean, you know, it's $25. Nowadays, that's on the cheap end for most decks. Yeah, you definitely could see the coloration difference there. It's clearer, it's much sharper. As if a beautiful deck couldn't get any more beautiful. I actually prefer my images to be a bit more intense. I like, it's almost like they're cleaned up. Nine of Swords here. Yes, definitely sharper. I know. Y'all don't want to see my nail. And of course, the indie deck comes with that, and the HayHouse deck comes with that Ten of Swords. I had contacted Chris-Anne a few months ago and asked her for a replacement card, and she was gracious enough to send me a replacement card, but honestly, I don't think I'll be using it. Now, I'm thinking maybe because I have 2 copies of this, maybe I can take one out of the indie deck and work with it with the HayHouse deck, because the cards are the same size. I should have mentioned that, but yeah, that's the big difference here in that. We get back to the page. Swords, definitely more saturated, cleaned up there. Hold on, we're almost done. Definitely more sharper, more vibrant, more cleaned up. Maybe great for those of you who do online readings. I mean, I don't have fancy equipment. I don't plan on investing in any fancy photo equipment. Queen of Swords. Sharper imagery, most definitely. Wow. I don't know. The jury's out. While I appreciate the enhanced coloration and the saturation that has been applied, I still also appreciate the mutedness of the indie deck. This is another one of my favorite cards. See how much clearer you can see the roots there? And to show you that, I mean, I'll switch places with them again. It's not. Is it my camera? Maybe I should move that over. There we go. Let's see. Well, it's just color saturation. I mean, if you're persnickety about things like that, that might be a bother to you. I know that many people are still enjoying the deck. They're loving the HayHouse version. Again, third time, you could have, $5 more, you could have splashed out, given us a better cardstock, better production, so that the die cut wasn't so janky. I mean, seriously, if it was a matter of rushing to get this done, I would have rather that you had taken your time and gotten everything to fit in the boxes perfectly, as opposed to jamming them down in the box to make them fit. Oops. Let's see. Okay. This image is the only one that I saw before I backed the deck. I did not think of looking at any of the other images. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Queen of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles. Okay, so maybe now, one of my other concerns is that I think that a lot of good information was left out of the book. And I'm going to read something to you. Bear with me. I know a lot of us, we don't like guidebooks. So, this little guidebook here I just opened it up and you probably can't see it, but it talks about painful endings, crisis, being stabbed in the back, an opportunity to find deep healing, an opportunity to find hope and resiliency. And of course it has the shadow seer, which is resisting the inevitable, etc., etc. Okay, it comes with, I have to check, same amount of spreads as the indie deck. Falling in Love, Lightwork Illumination. Let me see. Light and shadow spread, light of the draw, have patience with me, light and shadow, seer spread, deepening connections, soul joy it has in here as well. I'm not seeing, I have Calling in Love. I don't see the deepening connections in the small guidebook. Let me see, unless it's somewhere else. Nope. So that spread is not in the small book. But one of the things that I appreciated about this Ten of Swords in the large guidebook is the experience overview that's missing from the small book. And I think the experience overview and the journal prompts. She watches the first signs of dawn tickle the landscape, and she longs to feel the sun's warmth on her skin. After that devastating ending, she began to heal, and she has finally come to terms with everything that happened. Processing is a process, she whispers, and continues with her mantra. No more swords, just healing. No more swords, just healing. She remembers the painful backstabbing and deceit, the ugly, ugly truth and harm it caused her. She remembers that this will always be part of her story, but one that she will no longer be defined by. She is stronger than this, and she will recognize herself by her ability to rise above her past and to thrive. She longs to share her scars with the sun, to inject them with its hopeful, curative energy. She drops her nightgown and walks towards the horizon, vulnerable, whole, and totally and powerfully alive. She is free from that horror, free from that pain, and her scars have become vivid markers of her tenacious spirit. With her heart ready to love and her soul ready to shine, she walks calmly towards the light. Now, this came from the big book, and I know that this card caused quite a bit of controversy, but it's missing in this. Now, I have to tell you, my life has never been a walk in the park or a stroll on the beach. I actually resonate with this card more. And that is my one regret about the HayHouse deck, that they should have left this card in the deck. But perhaps because of so much controversy, they made an executive decision to leave it out. But I am going to sign off now because you guys have been with me for a very long time, 45 minutes. I know you probably heard that. I'm sorry, I apologize. But once again, this is the indie deck. Wow, let's see if I can get this all together. Actually, stack's a little thicker. No. Together. I can do that. Indie deck, HayHouse deck together. You know, I mean, not bad, right? I'm more concerned about the imagery on the cards. Yes, I want my cardstock to, be able to withstand handling. But I'm happy to have this deck. I'm happy to have it and be able to work with it. Let's see, I have some things out of order. I wonder if I can find any cards. No, probably not. Let's see, I have the Fool there and something else there. So, they are both the same size. I'll go ahead and finish that up. Both decks are the same size. Cards are pretty much the same size. We're just talking maybe a 1/16 of an inch. No big deal. The back, this is the HayHouse deck. It's a slight semi-gloss. That's the back of the indie deck. Matte. You can see my fingerprints on it. HayHouse, indie, pretty much the same. So, let the healing begin so we can go forth and manifest our desires. And with that, I am complete. Thank you so much for coming by, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye.